Before we dive in, I want to talk about the structure of the solo. There's 3 sections of it, as far as I can tell. There's a call and response. That's where we quote the melody and then answer it back. Answer. That kind of idea. And then over top of the B section, we would have and that's where you start to hear these kind of melodies that aren't really related to the vocal melody. They're more playing over those changes. And then after that happens, we vamp out and build on the B chord here. So da ba da ba ba da ba da ba da. Repeat. So 3 sections, the call and response, we can call it exploration, and then we can call it the build, okay? So with that in mind, let's look at our first call. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's the lick. Starts on the, it starts ahead of the downbeat with this rake across, starting at the 14th fret pinky D string down to the index finger at the 11th fret. And we're gonna pick the index finger high E string on the downbeat. 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. But there's a bit of a wind up to that actual downbeat. We want to work on getting this smooth. You don't want to just burn through it. You want to get it to be like, that's cool, that's ba-ba-ba-da, or you could get, okay? There's 2 different approaches there, but here we go. So that's a hammer on from 11 to 12, come back around, and then we start with just keeping rhythm. 14, pinky. That's down, up, down, up, down. And after that downstroke, we do a 4-note. Okay, that means 4 notes, 4 frets. We do a trill, like a pull-off. Okay. So we pull off to the E flat, upstroke on C sharp, downstroke on the high E middle finger, and then pull off back to the 11th fret. And we start a little down. Start a little sequence. And those are downstrokes get downbeats, or downbeats get downstrokes. Right? So that's. And we end on the A, right? The second lick is our first response. The first lick was a call. This is a response, okay? All right, so that's an upstroke and then 3 notes pulled off and then a slide, okay? And we're sliding, we're actually coming down chromatically from the 5th of the E chord into the 3rd of our E chord. And that's the downbeat of the E. Then we're gonna go, so we pivot. That's kind of difficult with the index finger. We got to cover 2 strings with 1 finger without sounding them at the same time. So don't do, otherwise it'll get really quite muddy. So we're gonna go 3, 2, 3, 1, 3, major 7, and bend 1 step. That's intervallically. As far as notes are concerned, it's G sharp, F sharp, G sharp, E, G sharp, and then D sharp up into E. I don't know, maybe it's E flat. I've never been good with enharmonic value. Okay, so, and that last lick there, that's a 1 fret bend with 2 downstrokes. So after the B string down, we come to the E string, form this little power chord, and then bend up. Then a couple of upstrokes, and we've landed into the B chord at that point. That's the 3rd of the B there, okay? So we were up at E. Okay, I hope everybody can hear it resolving into the changes, right? That's making the changes. So. This little tag sets us up for playing into the second section, which is the A, E, B section. That's the section that gives most people trouble. Most people on this song don't have any problem playing over the nothing wrong with the way she moves bit. It's the that section gives most people problems. Okay, so we're gonna go. Now we're gonna do a very quick little run here where we go chromatically from C sharp up to E. That's gonna be. I bet you never thought that doing those exercises would come in handy, but it does actually with the Jerry stuff. So we're doing 4 notes from C sharp up to E. And then we're gonna shift positions and come up here to the high E at the 12th fret. And we're not gonna go chromatically, we're gonna go like that. And anybody that knows what's happening is here we're coming up, that's hitting on the E chord. Ba-ba-da-bum, ba-ba-da-bum, ba-ba-da-ba. So that's the E, the 2nd of E, so it's root 2, flat 3, and 3, major 3rd of the E chord. Yeah, so E chord with the 3rd in the uppermost extension with an upstroke. And then we do a quick trill, but again, we don't trill all 4 like that. We stay in this kind of extended thing where nothing is happening on the 13th fret, high E. Then we're gonna go, okay, so all in. So it's a 1 fret bend And you want to let it weep down. Or you can play it more in time, but I like the... So then we're coming down this little E6 arpeggio. So that's C sharp, B, G sharp, and E. All right, so over the next A chord, we're gonna do kind of a phony steel idea. So we're gonna start here on this F sharp note on the B string, 7th fret. That's down, up, bend up. I don't hit the string again. I come back under to hit the high E, C sharp. Now what's happening there is we're bending this note to be that note and this note. And that forms the top of our A chord. That's the 3rd of the A and that's the root, right? 10th fret, so that's A. And then I'm gonna go 3rd of the chord. And that gives you a little time to set up for this arpeggio. And I do that, I believe I'm doing that just kind of a slow up. You could do that, or that would be downstrokes and downbeats. I do. That's the next line. So that starts on A. We kind of punch it, choke it. Then we come up 2 frets and we do chromatically. So that's chromatically, then to E, so B, C, C sharp, and we pivot back to the C sharp. And our middle finger's right there, ready for the B note. And then right here, we're gonna bend this up. We're gonna bend this up from F sharp up to G sharp. Sorry. So keep it nice and tight. Little space, don't let the notes bleed into one another. Like, okay, keep it nice and distinct. So we're bent up into that G sharp, then we're going to bring it down. So that's just, but this first note is bent. All right, now we get to the my favorite part of these solos is building to come back to quote the melody, okay? So we come, and that right there is the downbeat of the B chord. All right, now we're here to talk about our first build section, okay? So we did, now that is the 3rd of our B chord, and that lands on the downbeat. And we have a nice long time to build more drama and tension over that B chord while the band jams, okay? So we're gonna do that by releasing into chord tones. We're gonna suspend from 4, 3, 2, 1, 6, 5. And then we repeat that in terms of octaves. And I would encourage you to give these strings a little bit of a slap, you know, to get that brassy kind of Garcia, if you're after that Garcia sound. Middle pickup. So. Okay, so give it a little bit of snap. There's not too much overdrive on the sound. But if you dig in really hard, it compresses and folds up a little bit with a little bit of, you know, grind. Okay, so. So that's the B note, A string, 2nd fret, okay? So we're coming 9, 8 on G, 11, 9 on D, 11, 9 on A, that's 7, 6 on A, and then 4, 2 on B. Okay, now the timing of this lick is kind of tricky though. So, just like we went. All right, so B, then C sharp chromatically up to E flat, or D sharp. And then we quickly punch that F sharp on the D string. And we go chromatically from F sharp to, remember this is all over the B chord. So we're going 1, 2, flat 3, 3, 5, then chromatically from 5 up to the flat 7. Just like we did that little. Okay, so chromatically from F sharp to A, shift again 2 frets from the 6th of the chord up to the root of the chord. Okay. And now we're about to do our last 4 notes until we hit the downbeat on E. So here we are coming out of that first build. All right, let's pick it up here, starting on this C sharp note on the G string. We're going to do chromatically. That's down, up, down. And instead of hitting that last note, we're going to slide into that with the ring finger. And that's the downbeat of our E chord. And we're going to, you know, begin that whole cycle again of call and response. So the call is. This is just a creative way of playing the melody rather than going again, okay? That's our first thing. So we slide in, then it's a slide in, right? We did an upstroke, I think, and a down, up, and that's pivoted, right, on the ring finger. Then we're gonna not use our middle finger. Come in with the index finger, this is essential. Otherwise you're gonna be trapped here and you won't be able to really reach it conveniently. See how we're right there in our, you know, that's nice. And this trick is hit the note, pull off, and then bend back up into it. We're going to take that one step farther and go and slide up to the F sharp at the 14th fret high E string. So there's a lot of ghost notes there. I am going, so that's no note. Then I go back 1 fret. Then I do G sharp, okay? So that's going to be G sharp to F sharp on the D string. And then F sharp to E on the D string. So that's the same interval, okay? So that brings us to our second exploration, okay? We're going to be going over the A, E, B section, okay? So we're going to do a chromatically we're going to be targeting this C sharp on the downbeat to coincide with the A chord. the downbeat. All right, so if you think about the downbeat of the A chord and go, so that's 3, 5, 3, 5, 3 root of the A chord. All right, and then just master this little tiny chromatic. You start on the root and then come from 2 up to 3 again. Just like we did, and just like we did in B, in A, in E, right? This is one of Garcia, this is a bluegrass tradition. Okay? And again, you can put as much or as little sustain into these notes as you like to create a slightly more spacious or funky. You know, you can get more percussive with the pick, or you can be more, you know, okay, and we're going to do a 2-fret bend from the 14th up to the 16th fret to go into the E chord. So that's the 3rd of the E chord and the 5th of the B chord. This section is really about nailing thirds and roots of the chords that you're playing over. So 3rd of the A. Okay, then we're going to bend up into the 3rd of the E. That's the B chord. Back to A. Okay, so A, E, B. That was A, E. So that's the 5 and the 3rd of our little E chord. So 1, 2, 3. Now our second time through that section, we're going to use the flat 3 and bend it up into the 3rd, and then come all the way up here and hit this high A on the high E string, okay? All right, let's break that down. That's the first bit. Starts on the 14th fret G string, just like our last one, but rather than fretting this C sharp note at the 14th fret B string, we're going to bend the middle finger up, and we don't have to really concern ourselves with doing anything other than not overshooting it. We want to kind of bend towards it and snap into that high E. And that's 2 high E's, and we want to give it a little sting. Okay? 2 of those. Shift up to here real fast. We're targeting, this is an E chord. We're coming from the A, E, B, A, E. High E at the 17th fret there. And then we bring the ring finger back down. So that's, see how that's part of our D-shaped E chord right there. Okay? Then we're gonna go B chord. This is a great note. That E flat kind of gives it this wonderfully suspended. Okay? And what we're doing here is we're taking this position of the A chord, kind of with the 3rd in the bass, that's the C sharp, okay, at the 15th, 16th fret. And we're gonna roll our index finger across the G the B, G, and D strings. So the thing is to make sure when you play, after that ring finger there on the E flat note, just plant like you're going to play a full A bar chord, and then start focusing your energy down towards your knuckle, not towards the tip, but towards the knuckle, and then rock it. And you kind of have to pump it. You're kind of doing that like cha 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 cha. Okay. That was good. Okay, so that's our A chord. Now we're looking for an E chord, and we do a quick little rip slide up into the 5th of the E chord. Okay, so again, we're just walking down our typical chord formation. Throw the middle finger over. Okay, I think you'll find it helpful in both in terms of not allowing the chord to, if you try to do this, you're gonna this is a lot to cramp up. This is good because it kind of forces you to lift your finger off, okay? Try to mute with the underside of your index finger right here as you come off. Okay, the undersides of your hand should be muting these other strings, so either the index or the middle finger. Okay? Extra points for that little slide. Even put a little harmonic on it. Whoop, okay. And now we start our second build of that B note, okay? All right, that's 2 times we've made it through the development phase unscathed. Here we are at our second build, okay? And this all takes place over a B chord, right? Right before we go back to E, okay? And if you recall, we finished a bunch of arpeggios, and we end on that B note, and we're gonna drop to the octave here on the downbeat, okay, and hit that B at the 14th fret A string. And I think it's best to, do it with the ring finger. You've been using it, okay? So, boom, and now we're gonna start off with our build, our second build, okay? The first one we started here. Okay, this second one we're gonna do a very similar figure. Okay? That's the same thing, just up an octave, but in a different fingering. Now this is a little different. So that's 2 fingers. You can pick every one or you can slide. I think I pick every one of them. And I'm doing economy strokes. So if I can, I'm gonna do these economy strokes where I create the down pick. See, as opposed to, it gives you the opportunity to have that downbeat really emphasized. Now, we did chromatic. So 2, 3, 2, flat 3, 3, right? That's a B chord, right? Into the 5th of the B. Then we're gonna go chromatically from 5 to 6. Back to root. Whoop. Now, for years I used to do, but that's just not right. You wanna do, so this is where we want to omit the C and go straight from B, C sharp, D, D sharp, okay? And we start here at the D sharp, go chromatically up to F sharp, shift, okay? That's just up to where our pinky index becomes where the pinky was. And now we want to end on the high B, so we just come up 2 frets. So all in. And we're going to hold that for an extra beat, and then we're going to slide back. Okay, and into our final quotation of the melody. A little pivot lick. And then a semitone away from the E chord. See, so you want to pivot. And that's their downbeat. That's what we're looking for. Okay, we're at the last quotation. So we've made it all the way up here to this high B, and we've brought it down with our trill, pivoted, and then come up into this little dyad, G sharp and E. And this is our last time of doing the call, part of the call and response. That's the call. And we're using rhythm more than notes here. You want to try to channel the power of playing 2-3 notes at a time. You know, the guitar gets a lot louder when you play more than one note on it. So these chord fragments are pretty basic, I think. The idea is to get the groove right and to elevate the song in terms of energy before we break back into it. So call. Okay, that's I'm only playing 2 notes, but you can see there how it's part of that E chord, right? That's an E chord, and then we're going to come to this B chord. Another B chord to A. E chord again. That's another E chord with the 3rd in the bass at the 11th fret on the A string. That's right, that kind of thing. So, and then I just walk down the arpeggio on the B chord. So that's 3, root 5, 1. Pardon me. And then I quote the little riff. Now, after 3 choruses of Noodle-Rama, it's really considerate, I think, to actually play the song. You know, we've quoted the melody a few times, but we haven't really hit any of the riffs, right? So that's a great way of kind of signaling, like, hey, don't forget we're playing Scarlet Begonias, not B major, B Mixolydian Noodle Fest, okay? So that's the 7th fret E string, then the 6th and the 7th on the A, and we'd come down here, so that's how I play it. Okay, and then my index is right here at the F sharp note. Or you can use the pinky. And that keys us up for our next line. So we've just done our last call and response, and now it's time for us to start doing the last time we play through the A, E, B, the tricky part of this progression, right? So here's how we're gonna do it. We're gonna target the A note on the downbeat, okay? And we're gonna walk up, 2 pickup notes. Don't forget, we just came out of quoting the riff. So we're already there, and we're gonna stay there, and we're gonna go. Okay, and that is kind of this thing that I learned from a guy here in Brooklyn to kind of hop around a little bit. Don't just go right through the chord. Go. So we did 1, 3, 5, 3, 1, 5, 2 up to 3. Okay. And I think I would, advocate for some tightening. Okay, don't strum it. And we're there at that C sharp with our ring finger, hopefully, okay? Downbeat. Downbeat on the E chord. So that's going to be B, G sharp, and E. And we pivot back to that third of the E chord, okay? Everybody can see that that's an E chord. Okay? That's a nice way of getting the E arpeggio and the B arpeggio. And then we're going to chromatically walk it back down to that A note, kind of like we did in the beginning. Okay, we're doing that everywhere. That helps create a lot of tension and it brings us back to that A chord, okay? So, okay, so we did. How do we do that? So that's, again, using that economy stroke to create that. It's like a rest stroke. We're already lying in wait on the G string, ready to really twang that. You could do that, but I think I did. So from the third, sliding up to the fifth, and then skipping to the B string on the 14th fret. So that's coming us, bring us back from. Now we start here. This is something else here. Okay, so we're starting on the E chord and headed to A. A. Now, if you can't tell, we're doing that same trick where we're bending up to the C sharp from C. Middle finger bends at 13 and bends up. And again with the double down. Rest stroke is really handy for creating that snap. I'm going to come back to our little G sharp and E dyad. And walk it down. So that's E, B, A. A, E, E, B, A, okay? A, E, B, A, okay? So, now we need to get from E, so that's the top part of an E chord and the middle part. So we're playing the same fingerings, but on different string sets and in different frets. So here at the 16th and 17th fret, we're playing G sharp and E. Then we come back here. This is the 3rd and the 5th of the chord, and this is the 3rd and the root of the chord. Now, I want you to make sure you play it like this, okay? This is important, because if you're not here, then you're not going to be keyed up for this next bit, which is the bend over the... Okay, and that's over the B. So our last build is coming up, all right? So let's recap the whole middle section. Congratulations, you made it. Here we are at the finish line. Our last 2 licks are... So let's break that apart. The first one, super simple, but very important that you understand the subtleties of what's happening here. We're bending from C sharp to D. We're not bending to there, we're bending to here. And then going up. So we're going flat 3 to 6. So that's 3, 2, flat 3, 2, 1, 6. And then bending from 2 to 3. That creates this tension. It likes to resolve into the major 3rd. All right, so that's the first chunk. And this is, I guess, the last little bits of fireworks. So we're coming up here to the 15th fret, middle finger, B string, D note, flat 3rd of the B chord that we're playing over. And that lick is alternate picked, and the high A here, that's the highest, okay, is it upstroke if I'm not mistaken? So down, up, up. And that's all alternate picked, and every note is picked. So we're gonna go, that's our first 3 notes. So that's 15, 16 on the B, and then 14 on the high E, and then we're gonna go up here. So that's up, down, up. And then we're gonna play the same thing we've played, so we're gonna echo that first line. So the first 3 bits are, and now we have the chromatic across these 3 strings, the B, G, and D strings. Okay, and it's a little tricky to do the G string. We're not going, you have to alternate. So this G string has an upstroke on it. You can do it. I don't know what I do on the D string to tell you the truth, but I think it's probably just alternate. So we're going chromatically between the 16th and the 14th fret. So we're just adding this middle finger, shifting, and then going. And then we jump an octave and hit that B at the 12th fret. So that's going to wrap up this episode of Making the Changes. Once again, I'm Jack Devine, and I want to thank you very much for joining me today while we studied Scarlet Begonias by the Grateful Dead. I hope you guys enjoyed playing along with me and learning some new ideas, some licks, different approach maybe over a song you've heard probably 1,000 times. There's some great arpeggios and scales and some sequences that, you know, Garcia really was amazing with. I really steal those things all the time. Whenever there's a static chord for a long time, those little sequences, those that's cool. I was blown away when I figured those things out, and I hope that I can unlock that door for you and give you the same joy that I get from playing this music, okay? So, signing off from Brooklyn, New York, with gratitude and humility, it's me, Jack Divine. Please share, like, and subscribe. Hit the little bell, and stay tuned for more lessons, okay? Take care.